Greetings to all my tech heads out there in the KevTechify nation, and if you're new here, welcome. In this episode, we're going to look at key management. We'll be discussing characteristics of key management, key length and key space, the key space itself, types of cryptographic keys, and finally, the choice of cryptographic keys. This episode is part of my series on network security for the Cisco Certified Network Associate, or CCNA for short. I'm Kevin here at KevTechify. Let's get this adventure started. Key management is often considered the most difficult part of designing a crypto system. Here we have several essential characteristics of key management to consider. First one here is key generation. It was up to Caesar to choose the key of his cipher. The Vigenère cipher key is also chosen by the sender and receiver. In a modern cryptographic system, key generation is usually automated and not left to the end user. The use of a good random number generator is needed to ensure all keys are equally generated so that the attacker cannot predict which keys are more likely to be used. Then we have key verification. Some keys are better than others. Almost all cryptographic algorithms have some weak keys that should not be used. With the help of key verification procedures, weak keys can be identified and regenerated to provide a more secure encryption. With the Caesar cipher, using a key of 0 or 25 does not encrypt the message, so that should not be used. Then we have key exchange. Key management procedures should provide a secure key exchange mechanism that allows secure agreement on the keying material with the other party, probably over an untrusted medium. Then we have key storage. On a modern multi-user operating system that uses cryptography, a key can be stored in memory. This presents a possible problem when that memory is swapped to the disk. Because a Trojan horse program installed on the PC, a user could then have access to private keys of that user. We have key lifetime. Using short key lifetimes improves the security of legacy ciphers that are used on high-speed connections. In IPsec, a 24-hour lifetime is typical. However, changing the lifetime to 30 minutes improves the security of the algorithms. And finally, we have key revocation and destruction. Revocation notifies all interested parties that a certain key has been compromised and should no longer be used. Destruction erases old keys in a manner that prevents malicious attackers from recovering them. Two terms that are used to describe keys are key length and key space. Key length, right here, also called the key size, this is the measure in bits. In these episodes, we'll use this term as key length. Now, key space is a little bit different. This is the number of possibilities that can be generated by a specific key length. So key length is how big the key is in bits. Key space is how many possibilities can be generated using that key length. As key length increases, the key space increases exponentially. So every time you add in one more character to your key length, it generates a lot more possibilities. It increases your key space exponentially. Here we have a table, and it displays characteristics of the AES encryption algorithm. Some of the information here is it was the official standard since 2001. Type of algorithm is symmetric, meaning you use it to encrypt and decrypt. Key sizes here are 128, 192, 256. Once again, the bigger the key size, the more key space there is, the harder it is for somebody to calculate to guess what your key is. The speed is high, so it is to compute it, to encrypt it, to decrypt it is fairly quick. Now, time to crack, assuming a computer could try 250 keys per second, is 149 trillion years. This, by most people, is considered an unreasonable time frame, and that a hacker probably won't try to crack this, because to try all possible combinations will take 149 trillion years. Assuming you get it halfway through, that's still 75 trillion years, which is a long time. And then the resource consumption, how much of your processor and RAM does it take? It has very low impact on your system when you calculate these out. Network Security, Episode 16, Part B, Mid-roll Advertisement. I hope you're liking this episode on key management. Leave a comment below about what you think about key management. You can visit my website at KevTechify.com for all of my details and how to get these episodes in video and podcast form. The key space of an algorithm is set of all possible key values. The key that has n bits produces a key space that is 2 to the n possible key values. Now, by adding 1 bit to that key, the key space is effectively doubled. Let's go through this. So if n equals 1 and you have 1 bit in your key, so n equals 1, there are 2 possible keys. If you have 2 bits in your key, so n equals 2, 2 to the n power, 2 times 2, there are 4 possible keys. If you have 3 bits, n equals 3, you have 8. N equals 4, you have 16. And as you can see, with every bit, it effectively doubles the number of keys. Almost every algorithm has some weak keys in its key space that enable an attacker to break the encryption by some shortcut. Weak keys show the regularities of encryption. For instance, DES has 4 keys for which encryption is the same as decryption. This means that if one of these weak keys is used to encrypt plain text, an attacker can use the weak key to decrypt the ciphertext and reveal the plain text. The DES weak keys are those that produce 16 identical subkeys. And these keys here are alternating 1s and 0s, alternating Fs and Es. This key, E0s to F1s, and 1Fs to 0Es. Those are the 4 DES weak keys. Current key lengths can easily make any attack attempt insignificant because it takes millions or billions of years to complete the search when a sufficiently long key is used. With modern algorithms here that we trust, the strength of the protection depends solely on the size of that key. Now, what you do is you choose the key length so that it protects data confidentiality or integrity for an adequate period of time. Data that is more sensitive and needs to be kept secret longer must use longer keys. Here's a table, and depending upon what type of key you're using, if you're using a symmetric key, asymmetric, a digital signature, or a hash, this is the length of protection that they estimate for your key length. So if you want 3 years of protection, you need, for a symmetric key, it needs to be 80 bits long. Asymmetric, it needs to be 1248, a digital signature 160, or a hash. Now, if you want to go against, or you want to go for 30 years, we increase that value. And notice we're up to 128 bits in our key for symmetric encryption. Now, we have quantum computers that are coming out that can do calculations a lot faster. And if you want to secure or protect against those quantum computers, notice that our encryption lengths jump drastically. We go from 80 bits here for 3 years, 128 bits for 30 years. We double that 128 bits to give us 256. Asymmetric key lengths right here, we're up at 15,000 bits long for that key. So we're talking really big keys. Performance is another issue that can influence the choice of a key length. An administrator must find a good balance between the speed and protective strength of an algorithm. Because some algorithms, such as the Rivas-Shamir-Edelman or RSA algorithm, run slowly due to the very large key lengths. The estimated funding of the attacker should also affect the choice of key. If the attacker has lots and lots of money, you probably need a longer key because they have better equipment. If the attacker doesn't have a lot of funding, then they're not going to have cutting edge computers, access to different resources, so you can probably get away with a shorter key. Now, the rule here, the longer the key, the better, is typically a good choice, except for possible performance reasons. Now, shorter keys equal faster processing, but shorter keys, once again, are less secure. Shorter keys for faster processing, but you get less security. Longer keys equal slower processing, but are more secure. Network Security, Episode 16, Part B, Outro. It was my pleasure to provide you with this wonderful episode on key management. If you like this episode and you got value out of it, and of course, depending upon what platform you're using, please click that like button, give a 5-star rating, leave a comment. This all helps me bring you more great content. Please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. All of my socials and contact information are on my website, KevTechify.com. There you can find out how to get all these episodes in video and podcast form. Network Security, Episode 16, Part A, end screen. In the upper right is my playlist for my series on network security for the CCNA. In the bottom right is one of my favorite videos that I linked just for you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of my series on network security. Once again, I'm Kevin, and this is KevTechify. I'll see you next time for another great adventure.